Welcome back. Today we are doing Dearborn Mayor says Muslims are the real victims after attack on Christians by Actual Justice Warrior. And I would hope that if you're enjoying, you click that subscribe button down there. After starting last a couple weeks ago, almost 2 now, I was hoping we'd have a few more views out there by now, but oh well, that's okay. We'll get back to it. And anyway, let's get started.
Dearborn represents the best of America. We put into practice the ideal that people of all backgrounds, of all faiths, and of all beliefs can live peacefully and respectfully as neighbors, as classmates, as business owners, and as congregants. And that is precisely why we have long been mislabeled and targeted.
So one of the things that you guys need to understand out there in the audience is how the game is played, because occasionally you have little bits of moments of clarity, like we did a couple of weeks ago at the Dearborn meeting, when of course a Christian guy ends up approaching the podium. He decides to call out the naming of a street after a journalist who talked about advocating for violence, and not just in the Middle East, but all the way to Michigan, saying that they
Yeah, I remember that meeting. The Dearborn mayor basically said to the Christian pastor, "You're not welcome here." And I gotta say, I'm pretty sure America is a predominantly Christian nation and was founded on Christian beliefs. So, on the contrary, the Dearborn mayor, "You're not welcome here."
fight with knives, they fight with fists, they fight with planes.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm just reading his words here.
That's fine, but
they
you're
seem
interpreting his words after you read them. He did not use the word violence, did he?
Well, may I continue the rest of the quote?
Well, if you say you want to read them, you can read them. If you want to interpret and give your own opinion of what he's thinking, that's a different story.
Okay.
Oh, so what the words are and what they mean are as an interpretation instead, not actual meanings behind these words. I see. But if you look at the names of everybody that is in this city, you'll realize one thing real quick.
Sure, I mean, I'd love to discuss this. I just want to finish the quote because this is more. Okay, I'll continue. Whether we are in Michigan and whether we are in Jenin, believe me, everyone should fight within his means. They will fight with stones, others will fight with guns, others will fight with planes, drones, and rockets, others will fight with their voices, and others will fight with their hands and say, "Free, free Palestine."
And of course, we had the mayor.
Yeah, that sounds pretty much like inciting violence to me. I say, yeah, you shouldn't be naming streets after a guy who says that stuff.
And you just saw right
That's probably a bad idea.
there talk about how Dearborn represents the best in the United States of America.
And if that's the best in the United States of America, the whole country is doomed. So let's hope he is more false than anything else, which, if you're here watching, you probably agree that he's very false.
Peaceful coexistence. Tell this man that he was not welcome in this country. If you're not familiar with this clip, I played it a couple of times on this channel. Let me play it for you right here so you can get an idea of what the mayor actually stands for, who the mayor actually is, and what he wants Dearborn to stand for as the chief executive.
He wants Sharia law implemented in Dearborn, Michigan. He wants a full Muslim city right smack dab in America. No, we do not need a city where Sharia law is instated and we have, people in full Muslim coverings. What if there's a weapon under that covering, huh? What if under that covering isn't a woman who should be showing her beauty outward and showing that off? Rather, what if it's a man hiding under there and he's got a gun and he's about to go commit a mass shooting in some area? I don't even care which race he is. I'm not even pulling that into it. He could be just using the robe as a cover. That's why I think they should be banned nationwide. It should be no question about it, nationwide, across all countries that aren't predominantly Muslim nations. If they are Muslim Islamic countries, then yes, by all means, have your coverings, whatever, it's your country. But don't be coming into other countries, bringing that, and expecting the same, reactionary. It's like, no, this is not normal here. In fact, here we are a heavily armed population that could put a massive amount of people in danger.
Of that particular city.
And I think it's quite hypocritical to know that you're approaching this podium when you yourself have videos on YouTube standing in front of my mosque saying the cruelest of things about Muslims, about the religion of Islam, because you are a bigot and you are a racist and you are an Islamophobe. And although you live here,
anyone who throws out the word Islamophobe when all we're trying to do is not have it be the taking over of the city. It's like we're not saying you can't be here. We're just saying no, it is wrong for you to have the predominantly majority population and control, because that has been proven time and time and time and time again over the course of thousands of years, that any time you get this group that comes in, these specific individuals, they'll come in, they'll be, oh, we're just here to join you, we're not going to be troublesome. And then they wind up, as soon as they take the majority, they're like, all right, everybody else out. This is our land. Oh, you don't want to leave? Well, here's the barrel of my gun. Now leave or you're going to get a bullet. Oh, you're still not leaving? Dead. Like, no, that's not how America works, buddy.
I want you to know, as mayor, you're not welcome here.
And as a fellow Michigander on the other side of the state, sir, you're not welcome in my state. Leave. Go back to your home country.
The day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city. Because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence. You're somebody who tries to...
There is no coexistence with Islam. It is a nation that worships a person who married a 9-year-old. It is a nation that preaches violence at every single opportunity. They are a violent people. Don't try to convince me they're not, because every thread of evidence proves that they are.
To preach it, but in fact you do everything but that. So I just want to put that on the record.
Okay.
But of course, this little moment, this little example of what Dearborn has become as it's become more Arabic, more Islamic, ended up making national news. It went way further than this particular chamber, and it went even further beyond, of course, the local news segment that reported on it, and of course, the full video of their meeting, which had in and around 900 views when we originally covered the story. So now you got the mayor thinking, oh, I gotta change the narrative. I gotta talk about what actually went down, wink wink, but not actually address it. And I gotta make sure everybody understands that Dearborn is a very welcoming place. Dearborn is a very inclusive place, and we all work together in order to forward the...
I don't think it's very inclusive when you're blasting the Islamic call to prayer 5 times a day, including once at 5 in the morning, violating the city's noise ordinances. And to be honest, I don't care if you're blasting any call of prayer or anything at 5 in the morning. If you're blasting something at 5 in the morning, you've automatically become my enemy, and I immediately want you gone and eliminated from the population, because you obviously don't know how to live in a society with others and function properly. That is an inappropriate time of day to be blasting something when 95%, well, probably 90% of the city is still asleep. Like, no, you are not blasting things just to wake everybody up. I don't care if it's for prayer. I don't care if your religion says you have to do this many times. Then you have to try to petition to get the whole noise ordinance changed. If you do that, by all means, blast your prayer, and anybody who wants to leave, let them leave peacefully. But don't be blasting it when the noise ordinance says you can't. That's how you get some crazed lunatic who's lacking sleep with a gun coming down to your mosque and executing a bunch of individuals. Like, if it were me, I would just go up, one singular, done, and then there goes the loudspeaker blasting things that morning. And then I go back to sleep. Like, that would be my simple solution to it. I wouldn't quite go to the violence route, but, if you keep renewing the speaker, putting it in a place where I can't get to, then yeah, maybe I might have to. But it's like you push people so far that eventually they will turn violent, and then once you become the quote unquote victim from their violence, don't cry, wolf, because no one's coming to your rescue anymore.
Dream of the United States of America, wink wink, even though, again, this guy is just playing the victim. He's now saying that Dearborn's under attack for reasons that cannot be discerned by him, even though he is the man himself who said that a citizen of...
If he actually cannot discern the reasons himself of why people are upset with what he said, he is actually mentally challenged, retarded, and should not be in power. But if he's lying, then he also should not be in power. He literally has just backed himself into a political corner here.
Dearborn is not welcome, that he's a racist, bigot, Islamophobe, because again, and I know not a lot of people have been showing you these clips, that man dared to read the quotes of somebody who they named a street after in this particular area. By the way, the mayor also told this guy that he shouldn't even open his eyes when he's driving down the street.
I feel like to step forward.
So he wants people to drive unsafely. He wants people to break laws and potentially cause life-ending accidents. Oh, well, we'll write that down next time we go to vote, people. Vote red or you'll wind up dead.
I think the only comment I'm going to make, 'cause I'm not
Mayor?
looking for a rebuttal, is the best suggestion I have for you is to not drive on Warren Avenue, or to close your eyes while you're doing it. His name is up there, and I spoke at a ceremony celebrating it because he's done a lot for this community.
Because he doesn't give a damn about this citizen, and he absolutely meant it when he said, "You're not welcome here." But of
He 100% meant every word exactly as he said it when he said, "You're not welcome here." And in fact, him telling him to drive down the road with his eyes closed could be equated to him telling him to go kill himself. Like, there's a lot of things here that you could interpret directly from his quotes there. And yeah, this guy should not be in political power. He is a danger to his own community unless you fully bow down and basically worship him.
course, now he's the victim. Of course, sensationalized media headlines. The real problem isn't him and what he said and what we saw on video and that flash of reality of what Dearborn's all about. The real issue is the fact that people like me saw it, that they told you about it, that we amplified his own words so you could understand what he means. And this is what we're going to talk about today. This little game that they love to play in all these different various places across the United States of America, where they end up attacking white people and or Christians and or whoever they want to demonize as the oppressors. We end up noticing it, and then suddenly they're the victims all over again. So before we get into that, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com.
For decades, people have been intent on dividing and disparaging our city. Growing up, many of us recall those who came into Dearborn from across the country to burn religious texts in front of the mosques, or to harass families attending the Arab American Festival. Dearborn has often been slandered for simply coexisting peacefully.
Coexisting peacefully. I challenge anybody watching to go to Twitter, type in Dearborn, Michigan, and you will see a massive amounts of large groups of people, with the Free Palestine protesting, and that doesn't seem some of it doesn't seem super peaceful. It seems very not quiet. It seems very loud, very in your face, very, oh, we're here and we're here to stay. We're not leaving, and we're going to make sure you know it.
Because the truth is, some people are uncomfortable and frankly upset about seeing church steeples and mosque domes share the same skyline on roads like Alter Street, on Alter Road.
I don't mind that they're sharing the same one. I'm upset because one of them is blasting sounds at 5 a.m.
Do you hear that, guys? Did you catch what the mayor just put down right there? For decades and decades, Muslims have just been oppressed in Dearborn. People had been protesting their Arab festivals. They burned the Quran in order to mock these individuals. And the real truth, the real issue at hand, isn't anything to do with...
Oh, and he makes all those claims. Sorry to interrupt you, AJW, but, the mayor makes all those claims, but it's like, All right, if literally each one of these claims is legitimate, let's see a list of every single complaint ever made. But I bet you that list doesn't exist. But I bet you if someone made a list for crimes against Christians, crimes against Muslims, especially in the last handful of years, crimes against Christians are insanely high. We just had a massive attack here right near Dearborn, and not far from it in Grand Blanc. They had the guy who purposely crashed his truck into a church. I believe, Iraq War veteran who smashed right in there and took out a gun, started killing a bunch of people, started shooting people, wound up killing at least 4 of them that I know of so far, and he burnt basically the entirety of the church down. The whole thing is a loss. The pictures are incredible to see, and incredible in a bad way. It's shocking. Like you see mass shootings and whatnot, but usually when they show the aftermath, you'll see a building still standing of where the shooting happened. This one, it's like you can't even go back and check everything across to take his path. He burned his path. He literally burnt his path through, and the whole building is gone. I do applaud every bit of the police force who responded to that 911 call of a shooter there for responding as quick as they did. They responded in, I believe the call said it was under 30 seconds that the first responders were on scene. And it was less than 8 minutes later that the shooter was down and confirmed dead after trying to have a shootout with the cops. Yeah. So they did a fantastic job responding. I don't fault anyone there. Everything that happened that day was due to the lone individual shooter who, yeah, it seems he just didn't like Mormons. And that's kind of what it is at this point. He just didn't like people who chose that way to worship. And while they're not, exactly Christian, it's, they were still worshiping at a Christian church. It literally had Jesus Christ in the name. So, yes, this is still qualified as an attack on Christians in my book. And this mayor being right around the corner, pushing a completely hostile rhetoric on the entire town, the entire city, basically, it's not going to end well. If there's a holy war, may our uniforms on our side be a MAGA hat, blue American Eagle jeans, and a freedom shirt.
The Islamicization of this middle American city, it doesn't have anything to do with the mayor feeling like now that he's in power, they're no longer at the stage where they're asking for freedom. Again, when you're in the minority, you ask for freedom because that's according to American values. But when you get to the majority, you take away freedom. You want to shut it down. You want people out of your city because taking away freedoms is a part of your values. That's what.
Yeah, this guy 100% has no American values. He does not value speech, freedom of speech. He probably give him long enough and he'll violate most of the amendments in our Constitution. I guarantee you this guy has already violated a handful of them. So let's just see what happens as he continues to ruin this town.
We're seeing on display right here, but the guy got a little bit ahead of himself, so now he's backpedaling. He's talking about, oh my god, it's so sad, and you hear the clapping and whatnot, but you also hear the booing, and all of this rings incredibly hollow, because guess what? Given the opportunity to actually address the man that he said he wanted out of his city, that he wasn't welcome in the city, he didn't actually apologize. This happened way later in the interaction, despite multiple people from Dearborn talking about the mayor and how ridiculous his comments were. He waited until later in order to give this virtue signaling speech about how in reality the real issue is the fact that the mayor is oppressed. In reality, the real issue is that Muslims are being put down in the city of Dearborn, despite the fact that they hold almost every single leading position in their government, and they are not in any way, shape, or form being oppressed in that city.
And I'm pretty sure they almost have the majority of their police force Muslim as well. I'm pretty sure I was reading that somewhere that it's like a 48% Muslim police force at this point. So yeah, they are literally choosing this town to just fully come in and take over in its entirety right here in the heart of America. It's absolutely screwed up. It's messed up. It needs to stop. We need to push back. We can't just let this rhetoric enter our country and go unpunished. This is a violent rhetoric that he's spewing. He's literally telling Americans that you don't belong here in the city they live in and probably have grown up in their whole life. Their whole lives. Like, what is he doing? He is un-American in almost every way possible.
But Dearborn has never fallen for these divisive attempts. Back then and still now, Dearborn residents from every corner of the city have come together to shun hatred and to root it out of the place that we're all proud
If they're showing hatred, maybe you should stop blasting sounds at 5 in the morning.
to call home. We are united. Every time someone has tried to unravel the fabric of this great city, we've stood together, shoulder to shoulder. That unity has carried us before, and it's what gives families in Dearborn comfort and confidence in the future of our hometown.
Again, this unity talk might sound good very superficially, but recall what this is actually supposedly addressing. Recall who is actually the person who said that certain people aren't welcome in Dearborn, and who's the person who just tried to preach their religion. And again, he's going to go on to talk about how, Dearborn residents of all faiths and whatnot are welcome, but remember, one of his main issues with the guy that he said was not welcome in the city was the fact that he was proselytizing near a mosque. You're not allowed to do that in the city of Dearborn. You're not allowed to do that in front of his own mosque, even though, again, these faiths recruit people and try to convert people all the time. It is definitely a characteristic of not only Christianity, the faith that he was condemning, but of course of Islam. This is obvious. This is why these faiths have over.
It's extremely hypocritical of him to do it, too. He is pushing this on people, and he's like putting everybody into this box, and he's saying, all right, now anybody in this box, I'm going to shove this box around every single person in the city. All right, now if you don't fit in these exact categories, I don't want you in this box anymore. Like, what? You came to that box. You chose this area. You weren't born here. You came here.
Billion people. It's not like that happened by accident, but for whatever reason, now he wants to talk about people of different faiths standing shoulder to shoulder to fight against discrimination and bigotry, even though, again, at a governmental level, he told somebody he was not welcome there because that guy was preaching his faith.
Across every background, every faith,
It's very fascist of him.
every identity, we have built a city that is not only strong, but truly an example for the rest of this nation.
So he says that the city is strong and it's an example for the rest of the nation, and obviously that is not true. Again, I will point out that our previous story that we covered on this channel had to do with the basically force feeding of Islamic calls to prayer at 5:30 in the morning in the Dearborn area, which of course violates the noise ordinance, just
Yeah,
any
I was
kind
just
of
saying
loudspeaker
that.
activity, because you're not supposed to do that between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m.
Yeah, if I heard that and it woke me up, I'm going to find the source and I'm eliminating the source. It won't be there anymore. Like, don't do this crap. This is against the law. This is technically illegal, if you want to call it that. But, it's par for the course. For them, they don't care about laws. It's laws for thee, not for me. Like, yeah, that would drive me absolutely insane. They would turn me into a crazed maniac that they fear would come and attack them. And then I probably would, because at that point, I'm not right in the head anymore. I've had this blasting at me. I've had this turning me insane.
So for those few of you who wanted to make the comparison to church bells ringing at certain times during the day, typically church bells end up ringing around noon or 6 p.m., but they do not ring all hours into the night or in the early morning. And again, in Dearborn, Michigan, where they have noise ordinances, that is expressly prohibited at the times that they're talking about. So if you want to say, okay, they could do the Islamic call to prayer in and around this certain period of time that does.
If it's during the time of day where it's noise is permitted, fine. I don't care. Maybe get a permit that allows you that, the city says you can do it at those specific times every day. Sure, if you get all that paperwork, by all means, do it, and I'm leaving the city. But, if you don't have the paperwork and you're just blasting it to blast it, because, my religion says I have to, but even though they say I have to, it's going against the legal foundations of where I reside. No. If you want that, you go somewhere where they legally, have you blasting that everywhere.
Not fall under the severe noise ordinance restriction, then that's fine. You can make that argument. That becomes an issue of decibel levels. That's worthy of inspection and whatnot in order to figure out if that's actually a violation. But in reality, you're not supposed to do that at 5:30 in the morning.
That's the big part. It's not what you're doing at 5:30 in the morning. It's the fact you're doing it at all.
That's what they were complaining about. But in Dearborn, even though those rules are clear, even though they had an opportunity to exempt mosques specifically from these ordinances, guess what? They didn't vote for that. They didn't support it. And
so it sounds like they don't want them doing that. So if they get a bunch of people who are mad about it all of a sudden coming up, then maybe that's an issue that's worth solving. Maybe the people, if they rise up and get mad at the mosques and they go attack them because they're, doing something that wasn't voted on, that wasn't chosen. I mean, at some point, you boot ant. You're gonna get smushed. You keep tugging at it and trying to pick it up. It's just gonna smush ya.
Yet they're doing it anyway. But this is the example for the rest of the country. Quote unquote peaceful coexistence, which is actually in reality Islamic dominance in these communities.
And as you've heard tonight, those who call Dearborn home know who we are. A city that welcomes and embraces everyone. And although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you're not welcome here.
Those two statements contradict each other. You're not welcome here. We welcome everyone. What? So which is it? Are certain people not welcome here? Or is is everybody welcome? And is that only everybody welcome as long as they, follow all your little rules that you're going to implement to them, even if they're so to speak, equals to you?
City that welcomes and embraces everyone. It is our hope that one day the unity you actually find in Dearborn amongst its residents is the same unity and coexistence that you see across our entire nation. That is an America we all can pray for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, I think he's full of shit. I think he doesn't believe a word he just spoke. He does not actually think everybody's welcome there. Those words sounded extremely forced coming out of his mouth. And that's very much proven by all his actions.
So, of course, you hear some applause from the peanut gallery over in Dearborn, Michigan. You do hear some strong boos, which, by the way, absolutely love the people that are booing this particular mayor. But what you didn't hear is an actual apology. What you didn't hear was the mayor of Dearborn actually say, you know what, he regrets telling a citizen of the city that he's not welcome because he dared to preach Christian beliefs because that makes him an evil white racist, Islamophobe, and whatnot. And he dared to quote somebody that they named a street after in that particular city, and that was intentionally
exactly.
So. The guy gets to give the unity speech. By the way, this gets picked up by the Detroit Free Press, who doesn't actually give you the context of this. They just give you this excerpt right here and say, wow, what a great guy, what a welcoming city. Dearborn, an example for the United States of America, where you
I wonder if he paid the Detroit free press for that article to be written about himself, because I wouldn't put it past him.
Have these new minority populations who bring in their religion and their culture, they impose it on the city, and then they tell older residents who want to preach about Jesus Christ or want to talk about problems with certain figures that they're naming streets after, that they're not welcome, that they're racist bigots, and they will throw a parade when they leave. Again, absurd, ridiculous, but we're all supposed to pretend that this is perfectly normal because he gave a nice sounding speech. Don't you guys feel like your hearts are warmed? And again, I will point out that the same guy that was attacked in the previous meeting actually came in and he talked about how he forgave this person, how people had been encouraging him to sue the mayor, but in reality, he
100% should sue the mayor for, everything that is going on. I'm sure he's got a good enough case there.
wasn't going to do so because Christ's teachings tell him to turn the other.
I wish he wouldn't just turn the other cheek, because turning the other cheek is going to get him killed someday, just like Charlie Kirk did. Charlie Kirk was a prominent figure who always turned the other cheek and chose every decision to not be a violent person, to be the peaceful voice who talks, because once the talking stops, the violence starts.
Other cheek.
I have no intention of bringing a lawsuit for the infringement of my rights.
He 100% should. They did attempt to infringe upon his rights by disincluding him and telling him he's not welcome somewhere where he was born, grew up, and has lived for, I believe what he said, his whole life.
People have been saying I should do that all over the world. I have no intention of doing that. The mayor, in a way, cursed me, as was seen around the world, and I would like to repeat what I said that day to you, Mr. Mayor.
Damn ding-dong ditch
God
cat.
bless you. I think of the words of the Messiah, bless those who curse you, and some other very powerful words which were mentioned this week at a prominent funeral about loving your enemies and love your haters. And I think this is a very important message in our society right now, not just in regards to Muslim-Christian relations, but in our society generally. I see way too many people calling the other side a POS. If you don't know what that is, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you, but
I'm very happy that he hasn't allowed society today to taint him in calling, calling it insults back and forth to both sides. But there are some people on both sides that are absolutely pieces of shit.
I just think there's way too much hate in the society right now. And so I want to encourage loving your haters. There's nowhere in the world where we are able to speak completely freely as Christians. Here in Western countries, we're slandered as Islamophobes when we try gently and respectfully to invite Muslim people to believe in the Lord Jesus. And in Muslim countries,
In Muslim countries, if you try to preach Jesus, they'll murder you. In Christian countries, if you try to preach Islam, they'll say, great, you preach over there, we'll preach over here, and we'll try to coexist with each other. But as soon as the Christian countries become Muslim countries, then the Muslims kill all the Christians. It's happened time and time and time and time again. It's currently happening in Syria. It's happening with the Druze. It's happening with Druze, with a D-R-U-Z, not J-E-W-S. But yeah, it just happens time and time again in country after country after country. Islam comes in, becomes just like, that 51, 52% majority, and then all of a sudden they make a massive switch to where they go around just killing the other side. It's like the people they disagree with, they have to eliminate them and it's for their religion. But if that's for their religion, that's a violent religion that does not deserve to exist in the world. They are choosing the fact that they do not know how to coexist peacefully. That is a true coexistence, is a peaceful existence with both religions.
so many violations of human rights. And just to give an example, Mayor Hamoud, you were in Mecca a few months ago. on the Hajj, the original Islamic country, and in that country, there is still not allowed to be even one church, not one church in that whole country.
Now, after that, we got crickets from the mayor. After that, we didn't hear anything. We didn't hear him directly
Oh, really? Did he get embarrassed? Did he get a little shy from those comments?
address this particular citizen. We just had him wait a little while, give this canned speech about how Dearborn is a beacon of hope for everybody across the world. The
Beacon of Hope? I think he misspelled that. He meant Beacon of Hell.
new Mecca, if you will, and we should just accept the fact that it's a welcoming city, and everybody in the United States of America should follow the Dearborn mayor's lead, which is attack a citizen and then play the victim when you get attention for the thing that you actually did. But you know what?
The mayor is a true possum. You play dead, and if someone were to actually go up and you know, try to clean your carcass off the road, they'd be like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I thought you were dead." "No, I was just playing dead." Well, don't play dead in the road, because we need to remove, you know, roadkill and clean up. Don't play dead. Don't play dumb. Don't play victim unless you want to actually become one, because that's a great way to get put on someone's shit list. Anyway, subscribe to Actual Justice Warrior, subscribe to me, like both our videos, and before I go, I'm actually going to go take a peek at these comments. I have a feeling they'll be pretty good. No one named Mohammed fought in the American Revolution. Very true. It always astounds me how much leeway Muslims are given in Christian nations, but still cry the victim. Meanwhile, in Muslim nations, Christians are butchered. Yes, they are butchered in Muslim nations all around the world. It's horrible. The cancer is spreading. That's a very good comment. Dearborn is no longer an American city, is an occupied territory. Dearborn represents the best of America. Okay, already off to a rocky start. Listening to the mayor's voice is rage-inducing. Yeah, I would say this dude only cares if you're a Muslim. If you are not a Muslim, he does not want you there. This is happening in my backyard. It's 3 hours from me, pretty much. I live about 3 hours away from Dearborn, and hilariously, just 2 days ago at my job, I had a guy in, and he was complaining about something, but he was like the most stereotypical looking Muslim guy you've ever seen came in, and of course, he was complaining at the end there before he walked out the door that he had a 3-hour drive to Dearborn. And I went, I gotta tell my coworker about this one, because of course he's from Dearborn. These things are just writing themselves at this point. You're not being tolerant, you're not being inclusive, you're not being open-minded, you're being conquered. I like that one. When Muslims are in the minority, they are very concerned about minority rights. When Muslims are in the majority, there are no minority rights. Winston Churchill. And with that, I'll leave us at that quote for the day. Have a good one. Toss likes, toss subscribe, and get on out of here. See you tomorrow.